Welcome to the Beyond Profit Perspective, where we have discussions with leading people in the development of the social entrepreneurship space. Hi, I'm Ram Iyer. I'm one of the mentors at the Social Innovation Lab of the Pune International Centre. We are working towards fostering an ecosystem for social entrepreneurs in the urban, rural, and the tribal areas. A serious part of our effort requires working with the CSR organizations, and in that connection, we have today with us Mrs. Bina Joshi, the head CSR of Forbes Marshall.
Hello, Ram. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to come and talk to all of you today. It's a pleasure being here and looking forward to a very engaging discussion.
Yeah. We start off, can you just tell us what exactly does Forbes Marshall do? Because Forbes Marshall is a private limited company.
Yes.
And y'all are doing it out of the goodness of heart rather than, beyond the little 2% mandate.
True.
So tell us, what is your focus? What is the aspiration of your foundation in doing this work?
So basically, Forbes Marshall is an Indian company, and we can say it's an Indian multinational. We have been in this field of the corporate social responsibility for over 5 decades now.
Oh, wow.
So CSR is not new to us because it's a philosophy of our company to belong to the neighborhood and be a part of the society around us. So our founder, Senior Mr. Forbes, who is not with us anymore, he had this inbuilt as a philosophy and approach since, like I shared with you, 5 decades ago. The whole idea is that the society and the business belong to each other, and the CSR has been evolving for us.
Nice.
The needs of the society were very different 50 years ago, and now we are in 2024, and surely the society has changed, so our approach and programs have changed. Through the years, we have been focusing with the communities where we are based in. Plus, we always have had health, education as our focus areas, with children, women and youth as our main stakeholders.
Right. Can you give us an idea of the numbers which we are talking about? Broad numbers, 30 projects, 50 crores, 30 crores, whatever, just a broad number over the years.
Yeah.
So we have an idea of how large the foundation is and what is the kind of incremental value add.
So just to begin with, we have a foundation. We also have a healthcare foundation, and where we also have a department of social initiatives. So for us, it's really beyond the numbers, because the debate is always whether you want to broaden the impact, make it more wide, or deepen it. For us, deepening of the initiatives and the impact has always been critical through the years. So we first would describe our projects and initiatives and then see how many have been impacted. So there are certain programs where we have a direct impact, and there are a lot of initiatives where we have an indirect impact, or the indirect impact as a result of a direct intervention. So we basically capture the outreach, if I may say so, in the terms of numbers. So that will be the individuals who have been impacted. Also the amount of networks that have been created, community leaders who have been kind of built capacities in the communities, in the projects. And we also look at the collaborations and the value of amount of, the amount that has been
deployed,
developed, created as a result of our intervention. So each participant has got a different number. So for children, where the direct is the project is much more. The community leaders will be few in number, but the capacities that have been built are much beyond. Okay, so Ram, we have developed this pocket book which talks about our philosophy and approach. And this pocket book is what we share with all our employees, whom we call as members. We share it with our customers, because we do want to communicate this with our customers. And I think that's in the interest of all the social entrepreneurs, CSRs who may be watching this interview. It's very important to communicate what you do, in the terms you understand it.
Yes.
So this booklet is very good, which captures all that I've shared with you right now. And in this, we have captured our impact. Since I told you there are various ways we capture it, kind of the lives impacted, I'm just going to read it out to you.
Yeah.
So we say the NGOs which have been supported through all our initiatives are through cohorts and incubators. We have more than 4,000 students whom we have reached. And the women who have been empowered economically is more than 3,000.
Wow.
Plus, we also have more than 35,000 people impacted through our CSR efforts, which calculates all that we are doing through all the 3 verticals. And indirectly, like I shared with you, about 1.5 lakh, that's 1,50,000 lives have been impacted. Like I shared, some of it is a deeper impact and some of it is a more wider impact. So we support community development projects through which we reach all these people. We also have certain flagship projects. So these are the projects where we invest a larger amount of money because we know that these are high impact projects which can be scaled up. Apart from that, we have newly developed a vertical called as strengthening the social ecosystem. So it's a ecosystem centering projects where we support incubators, we support fellows, we support cohorts, and we also support action research, which is relatively an underfunded area within the whole CSR realm. All this together will capture our impact.
When you mean incubators, what is a typical incubator?
So it could be a social incubator. I'll give you one example. So we supported an individual who started an organization who works with the Bharwad community, for example.
What community?
Bharwad. So these are, they herd cows, so they are cow herders. They are pastoralists. They belong to a nomadic community. So the Bharwads have moved from Gujarat when there was famine to all parts of India. Now he wanted to develop a project to see that their children get the benefits of schooling and start attending school. So nobody invests in a population which is so fragile.
Right.
So probably this can give you an example that we help them. So just like you have a incubator for a science project, he was an incubator for us. And then he is part of a cohort which is then groomed by organizations. These could be social enterprises or non-profit organizations who will groom similar fellows, similar individuals, who are strengthening our ecosystem.
Okay. And what has the impact been?
So this is a relatively recent project and say around 6 to 7 years of their existence.
Okay.
And the first major change is now the children are going to school.
Okay.
The school is accepting these children because children who have a different language, for example, who are the kind of supposed to be children who will not attend the school full time, are we know that they are not encouraged to attend school. So with a lot of readiness activities in their small nomadic settlements, the organization has made a great impact. The students are learning well, and some of them have also been meritorious students of their classes. The hope is this will be the first generation who will at scale where hundreds of children will complete schooling and enter into the junior and the higher education realms.
And Forbes has funded them and
supported, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Basically the funding support.
Yes. So usually we don't look at ourselves as funders.
Right.
We say we are partners.
Fair enough.
So in that sense,
Yes.
we would like to acknowledge our supported people as partners. And
just taking this project
yes.
forward, that this person, you want to name the person?
So this organization is called as Learning Companions.
Okay.
And Ganesh Birazar has started this. This is in Nagpur. It's off Nagpur. So after we supported him initially, now I think the project has grown. So it's a fellowship model that he offers.
Okay.
So we have supported Ganesh in the initial few years since he started the program, his own organization.
Right. And over the years, you'll keep track and you'll...
Yeah. So usually most of our projects are supported between 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
If it is within the ecosystem strengthening project.
Right.
But our community development projects do see that the project continues in the same geography but undergoes different versions. So we begin with, say, strengthening of the community leaders. The second version would be the community leaders take up their own initiatives and start working on a socially relevant topic, like the hyper local issues that they face.
Fair enough.
So it undergoes some reiterations.
Fair. When you said Forbes is interested in the neighborhood,
Yes.
I mean, is there any particular parts of Maharashtra, India that y'all are working closely in, or it's like any project?
So typically we have been working with the neighborhood communities.
Right. Which are the neighborhoods?
Which are in the Pimpri Chinchwad municipal area.
Okay.
And recently we have, recently about a decade ago, we shifted to Chakan MIDC. So we are working in the villages in the Khed Taluka.
Okay.
So these are our manufacturing bases, and this is where we have our community development projects.
Okay.
Apart from that, the ecosystem strengthening are across India.
Okay. For
And,
example?
So we would work with in a cohort. So it could be the Teach for India cohort whom we would support. It would be a cohort within Dasra, and the fellows or the social entrepreneurs are from across India.
Okay.
So
But
in that
location wise?
So it could be in, so one of the social entrepreneur could be in Madhya Pradesh, somebody could be in Gujarat. So the capacity building inputs or the organizational inputs will be similar for that cohort.
Okay.
But the entrepreneurs will be located in different parts of India. So in that sense, we are in other places. Apart from that, we have also started a shared value skilling initiative.
Okay.
So the concept of shared value is relatively new, and it basically builds up the social intervention based on your business competence. So while you create a social impact, you also may possibly have a business impact.
Right.
And for this, we look at our customer and the geography intersection. So for this skilling engineers, we have looked at engineers from underprivileged backgrounds or underserved regions who are graduate engineers, and they are from different parts of India. And we look at regions where so typically tier 2, tier 3 towns,
Nice.
where these engineers don't have opportunities.
Okay.
So we have trained engineers from Jharkhand, from some parts of West Bengal, Gujarat, the Uttar Pradesh, and the tier 2 and tier 3 towns of Maharashtra. So
Okay.
similarly, we have made a beginning in the south. So we are looking at Tamil Nadu as and reaching the engineers from the tier 2 and tier 3 towns.
Okay. As of now, but most the Forbes plants are in MIDC and in Pimpri Chinchwad. I mean, in
Yeah,
Pimpri
PCMC and Chakan.
Chakan, two
That's
places.
right.
Right.
We also have in Hyderabad a manufacturing base.
Okay.
Plus now we have got international presence. But as of now, we are looking primarily at India.
And you are looking at the community development happens in areas near
Closer to our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
That's right.
How much of, so let's say if I have a project in Pimpri, I'll automatically come and reach out to you and say, can you help us?
Yes.
What about some other part of the country? I mean, what about other part of Maharashtra?
Yeah. So for that, we have the foundation
Huh.
that looks at these geographies and the grant making.
Okay.
But I wish to mention over here that we have a focus area.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so if it falls within the focus area, then yes, most welcome to apply
So
to
the
us
focus
for the
area is
grant.
education and health.
Actually, now for the foundation, it is strengthening the ecosystem. So we are looking at fellowships, cohorts, where we would support. So it's basically capacity building, organizational development
Okay.
of the social entrepreneurs. It could be an NGO, it could be an individual, it could be a fellowship model. I mean, it really varies.
Okay.
And we will be revisiting this every 3 to 5 years.
Fair
So
achievement.
if I'm talking to you today and somebody sees this interview 6 years from now, probably we have moved on. Like I shared with you, all the initiatives are evolving. Basically, CSR itself is an evolving discipline. I would request the audience who's viewing this to go to our website, where we will have a description of the projects we are supported. Probably that will give them a good idea of what we are doing. So if it was 5 years from now, I mean before 5 years, then we were supporting projects in the area of education, in the area of research especially. We were also looking at mental health. Mental health continues to be one of the focus areas, even currently across all our initiatives. So I would wish that everybody goes to our website, sees our focus areas, and then thinks of applying to us.
And how does the application process work? I mean, do you have a formal application? Do you have a tell us about that.
So we have a pretty detailed application, which is a grant for the applying for grants. And typically we look at what is the history of the organization, why was it founded, what is it focus areas, what is the grant that they wish to apply for. And we actually, it is designed in a way that the applicant is made to think deeper about his own organization, his or her own organization, and the initiatives they're applying for. For example, we would ask them, have you thought of the last mile beneficiary, and how are you going to account for the impact? What are your monitoring processes? We follow a more outcome based log frame analysis. So for us, it's what are you trying to achieve and how are you going to track it, how are you going to report it, what is the sustainability plan that you are thinking of today. We are not expecting them to have it right now, but there has to be a thought given to the whole idea of making their initiative sustainable. So all this is in the grant making application form, which takes a little bit of a time. And once we have the grant application form received, then if it fits into our portfolio and it makes, we feel it's a good project, then you go into the project discussion one-on-one. It could be either online or offline. All of us at Forbes Marshall very strongly believe in making a field visit to that initiative, because looking at an project as it's implemented on the field gives you a great glimpse of the work that is being done. So
how large is your team?
So we have 6 members in our team, and each one of us has got, we are professionally trained, to be in the development sector, and all of us are employed in the Forbes Marshall company. So plus we have a lot of consultants who would probably help us for the impact assessment reports. And we have, of course, the whole larger Forbes Marshall family and community who helps us take all this ahead.
And what about projects outside this? I mean, I'm just talking about a project, say, in Mahabalipuram. There is a tribe of snake catchers. They live all over the Tamil Nadu and I think southern region. But once a year, they all congregate in Mahabalipuram beaches as some kind of a communal festival. It used to happen a lot more.
Yes.
And those women, they make artifacts in terms of embroidery and stuff.
Yes.
At this point, it's not commercially exploited. One of the things we are looking at is, can we do something for them where there's a forum? These women are not really very advanced. They don't know. They are barely lettered because for the history of where they come from.
Yes.
So they're yet knowing, trust banana hai. This is what we have to do. And the entire thing, whatever all the tick boxes, community development is happening. They are people, they are nomadic people, they need access. And beyond this, right now, they have a certain value system, a certain ecosystem. But going forward, they also need to capture some of this, keep some of this, and go forward and create value in their own society.
True.
Would something like that interest you? It's in Tamil Nadu. It's not going to happen. And the project is also based on women and their embroidery and how we can commercially exploit that embroidery.
Okay.
That's the...
Okay, I got your point, and it's a very interesting question. So the way we look at it is, supporting one individual entrepreneur, like for example, this group, it is a group, right?
Yes, it's a cohort.
An individual.
It's not an individual,
So what we have seen is one-to-one support sometimes is not helpful.
Yes.
Okay, but we identify the cause. The cause fits into the whole ecosystem strengthening initiative. So our strong advice will be that such people become a part of a cohort,
Right.
because most of these individuals and organizations have similar needs for development. All of them are very, very passionate about what they are doing and what they want to do, but they need the wherewithals. So they need inputs for what kind of organization they want to start, how do they register it, how do they get the funds, what is the leadership going to be like,
Right.
how are they going to function as an organization, how are they going to market their produce, how are they going to keep all of this transparent. So each and every item of this makes it important for them to grow as a group.
Yes.
And we realized none of us can do that at an individual level. So for such people, we could recommend, or they could look out for cohorts which are being supported. Like for example, we supported Creative Dignity, which in turn worked with artisans.
Right.
And then it was a group of artisans who was supported,
Right.
and all their needs were addressed. So I would highly urge that this group of women who are our traditional arts people or craftsmen or performers to be a part of this, a part of a cohort, because they also learn from each other.
Right.
They are navigating a similar path.
Yes.
And that lateral thinking, lateral helping also goes a long way towards reaching their cause.
Right.
At the same time, what we have realized is a certain amount of focus is very necessary. And even that can get across when they are looking at the strengthening of the initiative. So we will not help the individual and the group directly. We would rather recommend them to be a part of an initiative, and then all of them can be incubated, like so to say, together.
Right.
And that's the way forward.
Fair enough. And you could support the incubator in some form or fashion.
They could be a part of the cohort, of a similar cohort.
Okay.
So if there is no cohort, and then it's difficult for us to look at that. But if not us, there are so many other people who are supporting similar cohorts.
Cohorts. So the way forward is the cohort, and how do you...
Yes.
Okay.
And I guess I'm just talking. I think PIC has also got a very good platform where you have one-to-one probably channels which are open, because I know you have got the rural, urban and the tribal track. So I think that's another way they could get support.
Yeah, that would be. We're just looking at expanding, because
Correct.
PIC doesn't give money per se.
That's right.
We can give support, we can create the wherewithal, build the capacities. But the money part of it doesn't come from, which is why we need to partner with organizations such as y'all, because y'all have the funding to say, okay, we have this project, this is the kind of money required to take this forward and do it.
Correct. So this project probably would fall under the innovative grant category.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Because you don't have many people doing this. It's the first time they are doing it. They are working with a group of women who don't have the access to, to the next level.
Yes.
So I would say probably this would get addressed as an innovative grant.
Okay.
So it may not fall under any of our purviews, but surely it would be an innovation. It could be the approach, or it could be the other objectives that they have, which may qualify them for an innovative grant. Yeah, so another very important piece of information, all of you may already know about it, but it's very important to talk about it again, is that very newer organizations, I mean, since they have there's an inception, CSR cannot grant make to organizations which are less than 3 years of incorporation. So all of you, will have to wait for minimum 3 to 4 years since you start your work, so that you can apply for a grant to a CSR. Of course, all of you would have the, registered your organization either as a non-governmental organization or as a social enterprise. We also look at ATG and 12A certifications that you may have. Apart from that, now the government, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, has mandated that every organization has a CSR unique identification number, which is called usually as the CSR UIN, And I think organizations like NGOs should realize that even the corporates are bound down by certain compliances. So when we are reporting our 2% CSR expenditure, it's very important that each organization that we grant make to should have that CSR UIN number. I think these are just necessary compliances, and if you don't have it now, I'm sure you'll get it within the next probably 2 or 3 years. But without these compliances, we really cannot grant make, and we cannot capture that as a 2% mandatory spending.
Okay.
To all of you who don't really are not well conversant with English, let me share with you that the whole sector, the social sector, are looking at leaders who are from diverse communities with diverse backgrounds.
Grassroots, yes.
And in fact, grassroots leadership is being strengthened in a very, very big way. We do it at Forbes Marshall, and the whole sector is looking at strengthening of grassroots leadership. So English is not really the mandatory language. You would be most comfortable speaking in your vernacular language, but Hindi would be preferred so that you are commonly understood across India. But vernacular languages and local leadership is definitely being encouraged currently, because you are change agents, and there's no better person to change the community where that person belongs to. So definitely it's a
languages are
big
great.
Yes.
Great. So what is a successful, which you all feel very satisfied? I mean, you all know that yes, we made an impact, this moved from point A to point B, and what would be a...
So if I may take the liberty, I will share with you 2 initiatives. The first is a girls' scholarship program. And Forbes Marshall started this as our own initiative in 2018. Since then, we are now in 2024. And what started as an individual initiative has grown into a collaboration. So it is a collaboration of different companies in Khed Taluka, Chakan Phase 2, which have come together. So there are 5 companies which have come together and supported this one initiative. And the aim is that we saturate it across the taluka. The objective is that we keep girls in school, empower them, and very importantly, because they are in school gaining skills, the age of marriage will also be pushed beyond 18 years. So, and these are girls from the vulnerable sections of the population. In fact, we have developed a vulnerability index, and currently we are supporting this year about 1,100 girls with multiple vulnerabilities coming from homes across, they attend 29 schools in Khed Taluka, and we support them 8th grade across 12th grade, also support them for vocational education. And I think so this is one example of a project which has scaled impact. It's a high impact project, and also in a collaboration, because usually otherwise you see a duplication of efforts of the corporates. So this is one initiative. The second initiative I would like to share is the Worker Facilitation Center. The Worker Facilitation Center was started in response to COVID, because we saw how badly the migrant workers in the informal sectors were affected. So we again partnered with an organization, and we run a Worker Facilitation Center, which is a physical space as well as online support. It basically addresses the safety and dignity of the workers in the informal space. They get access to government entitlements. They also have a grievance redressal mechanism, because the Worker Facilitation Center takes up issues related to non-payment of salary, related to health. So if there has been an injury, they get a reimbursement. They also fight for them at the legal cases, the litigation, and it has impacted the workers in the informal sector and indirectly their families. So I would say these 2 projects have been greatly successful.
And what did Forbes do in this project?
So first of all, it was initiated by Forbes Marshall. And now we have a lot of other corporates also taking up the same initiative, and it has been replicated in 2 other locations in PCMC by other corporates. So we see a project.
And this is for migrant labor across the PCMC region?
No, so this is for Khed. This is for Khed Taluka. Because we are located in Chakhand, and Chakhand is the destination. So we always have a source and a destination of this, migrant labor. So we decided to work at the destination, which is also very close to our communities where we work in.
Fair enough.
So I would say these are some of the good projects, and the need is everywhere. So we are glad.
Migrant laborers across does not necessarily have to be Forbes employed. It can be any.
No, not at all. In fact, they are not Forbes employees.
Right.
They are staying in the Khed Taluka and working in different companies.
Right.
All of them are working. It is an informal sector, right? So their employers are different, but somehow each person is in the supply chain of some organization.
Fair enough.
Correct? So
how do they know about this?
So Forbes Marshall is member of Social Compact, which is a platform where we have multiple stakeholders. So you have got the employers, you have got the organizations, that is like Worker Facilitation Center. The NGO which runs it is Ajivika Bureau, and we have got small and medium enterprises also as a part of this whole Social Compact. So we can see that if a multi-stakeholder partnership exists, just like in our Girls Scholarship Project and similar with Worker Facilitation Center, it is a good way to move forward, and you can achieve impact at scale and also depth. So these are very good initiatives, I would say.
Forget Forbes or anyone, just what would you think of an organization, say like Ulgulan? They work in a tribal area.
Yes.
Their work is to disseminate information via social media, via YouTube videos to a whole bunch of fragmented population in that part of the world. So these village people, these tribal people, they don't know about schemes, they don't know what their rights are. And this Ulgulan basically just focuses on video messages. They spreads it across. But they have to build, there's not too much of scope for advertising revenue. They get a little bit, but it's not enough. They need a lot of support in institution building, because they have to have village journalists. They pay them 1,000, 2,000 rupees stipend across 30 villages in one particular taluka. What kind of support, or who would be the people in Nandurbar, back of beyond? So we don't have any large companies working in that region. And which is a problem which you are facing across, like while the Khed is near to Pune. One of the problems we face is when there are organizations or initiatives which are happening in the back of beyond class 3, class 4 places where institutions have to be built, who would support them? How could they be supported? Whom should they look at? Based on your experience of other CSRs besides Forbes.
Yeah. So, I think these individuals are being supported, and these are being supported to a very large extent. So I can give you an example of Dasra. So I would really encourage such entrepreneurs to see, kind of projects which are being supported by Dasra, for example. There are also networks existing in Madhya Pradesh that we know of. I know I've heard about Ulgulan and doing amazing work. So I'm sure they will be supported, but just like your case for Tamil Nadu and the women workers over there, the women artisans over there, I'm sure they will have to look at organizations who support them as cohorts. Individual support will come next. I'm not saying, so I feel the way forward is to belong to a cohort so that they develop their project to scale. Scale in the sense a smaller scale, a smaller version. But most importantly, they also have to know what are they going to propose. Okay, so instead of saying we give a stipend to whatever, how many number of fellows did you say?
20 villages.
Okay, so I would say they are actually their fellows, right?
Yes.
So the way you communicate your whole project design would also make a difference.
Okay.
Right? So these are all catalysts. They are trying to create a social change.
Yes.
They should be able to rephrase what are they actually trying to do.
Right.
Because even if you pitch your organization, your intent, your purpose in a way which a third party will understand.
Right.
Sometimes the individuals are very passionate. They describe what they do, but your pitch should not be what you do, but the pitch should be what are you intending to do? What are some of your project indicators, what are some of the important components of the whole project design, and that should be also communicated appropriately.
Fair enough.
So I feel a part of it will be to look at how you're going to pitch your project, pitch your values, pitch your overall vision and mission. So that helps. I myself know about Ulgulan and they are doing really good work. So I feel all this needs support and they need to be a part of a cohort to be able to do that.
Okay.
And I would also say something else, which people may be surprised in hearing, is I feel some of the CSRs who are removed away from the development sector may not even understand these issues and may not understand the relevance of what they are trying to do. So I would also look at such individuals in educating the larger population about their geography, about their context, about the landscape. Like I would say, a lot of us don't know what are the real issues in the northeast of India.
Correct.
So it is also that people should educate themselves on the realities that we have in India, which is so diverse and so many different issues that even that does play a role, unfortunately.
Fair enough. How do you see CSR evolving? What is going to be happening in the next 5-6 years? Where do you think money is going to go? We had discussed in an earlier conference that most of the money happens in Bombay, Pune, and it goes within this region. But I mean, as I discussed, Ulgulan, Nandurbar or Latur, there are other parts of even Maharashtra which need money.
Yes.
The government does provide a bit, but it's not adequate. And the initiatives is beyond the money to build capacities.
True.
So how do you think, what's going to happen? First, let's think of Maharashtra beyond the industrialized belt, Bombay, Pune. And let's also look at India, other parts.
So, looking at first the macro environment, I think we are going to see a lot of compliance and lot of reporting.
Okay.
So, we are about a decade that we have the CSR mandatory spending. A lot of people are doing it as a tick mark activity, but the compliances will help them think deeper. So that in a way is a welcome thing, because very soon we are going into impact reporting. As you know, beyond a certain criteria, you have to get a project with a project assessment done. So I think in a way it is good. And for that, probably all the organizations should know that as a CSR domain, we are moving towards impact reporting. That is one.
Impact reporting is a requirement by the government for how?
So if you see now, as a part of the social stock exchange, the social audit is going to be important. Will be mandatorily conducted, right? And organizations are supposed to submit an annual impact report. So what I'm suggesting is that though it is not mandatory as of now, it's going to come very soon. So be prepared for it. Like for Forbes Marshall, we were doing everything. And when CSR became compulsory, it was just the way we started reporting our work. So now it's not mandatory. So I'm just saying it would be coming very shortly to all of us that you start reporting on your impact. So that's the way.
You as a CSR foundation, you have to report, or both sides? I mean, the beneficiary.
No, it is the impact reporting we do internally. Which is not mandatory as of today.
Fair enough. No, forget the mandatory bit. Just the element of
So each of our organizations, like I shared with you with the grant making application, we have them share with us how are they going to monitor and report on the work that they have done. So I think this impact assessment reporting is going to become kind of important in the years to come. The other change we see is that within CSR grants and the social sector, collaborations are going to grow. So, organizations who are currently working in silos, need to be aware of the fact that working independent alone is not really going to be enough if you want to make a change, and so collaborations is going to be the way forward. We also see a lot of funds at the macro level which may be earmarked for climate change or environment and ecology. So I feel a lot of grants are definitely going to, as we go ahead, going to be earmarked for that at the macro level.
Right. When you mean climate change, where does money go? I mean, climate change is a large point, so
so it could be for very hyper local issues that are in the in your vicinity. It could be for a major disaster or awakening call. So you could look at more grants being given for ecologically fragile areas and zones. It could be for a community which are affected, their livelihoods are affected because of climate change.
Yes.
So we will have an intersection over there.
Right.
So it will be livelihoods affected because of climate change. It could be housing because of the rising levels of water, rivers being flooded. So I'm talking about an umbrella of as a climate action, ecology and environment. But within that, it could be livelihoods, it could be fragile zones. It could be awareness, it could be afforestation. I mean, all of that would be captured under this umbrella.
What do you think will be the major changes initiated by the government in the CSR space? I mean, in the ways y'all give money or the way people receive money. There's already a lot of restrictions by the government on who gets money, what you get money for. There are a lot of trusts have a lot of restrictions.
Yes. The compliances are surely going to grow.
Right.
And people should be ready for that.
Right.
We really cannot judge where we are going to go from now because it's really changing so fast.
Right.
I feel a lot of transparency will be required even more. And what we also see that a lot of small and medium enterprises will also play a major role over here. Within the CSR ecosystem, that's very largely untapped as of today.
Right.
So today you're we are meeting because Forbes Marshall.
Yes.
But there are a lot of small players in the field.
Right.
Yeah, which can also define how they would like to work. And what the government can do, I think we can only anticipate year on year. So I think that's a little tough call to take.
Right.
But we know we are moving towards more compliances.
Right.
A requirement of more transparency,
right.
Better functioning, of your house. Basically being very clear about how you're going to be monitoring your projects, how are you going to capturing impact. So that's surely going to grow. And if you have got these 3 or 4 things, whatever changes happen, your organization is ready to face the reality. So I would say just be ready for the change that will happen because CSR will keep evolving.
Okay.
Ram, I am very much aware that PIC is doing a lot of good work, just like I shared with you what we do. So, can you just share what you do?
Yeah. SI Lab has been there for the last 7 to 8 years now. We have a bunch of mentors who have multiple skills. I come from a finance strategy process background. I have people who come from a marketing background who help you with the go-to-market strategy. There are people who have worked in technology. So each of us, we team up. 2 mentors are assigned to a particular project, and then we try to build capacity. We try to help them get to a point where they are sustainable and scalable. In association, PIC also has a shared services program which gives them very, very specific inputs ranging from accounting services to social media to direct marketing. There are 10 odd service providers. PIC will take up a part of the bill up to rupees 40,000 per project per service provider. And you can choose, based on which stage the project is in, they can choose, okay, we need accounting and governance and maybe taxation or whatever. And then get very specified inputs from experts.
Okay.
So these are at this point, this is the 2 main things. We are building capacity in terms of saying we want to be able to talk to organizations such as y'all and say, okay, we can come and say, okay, this is a project, would you be interested?
Okay.
Just as a any entrepreneur may be able to access you directly. We would also like to be able to, in the discussion with other CSR partners, and see how we can build it. We are also looking at over the medium term to build up cohorts. The incubator, the cohort, we are in the process of building that capacity up. Those are the two major initiatives coming up. The third part which is coming up is also the research papers. For example, carbon credits, climate change. For entrepreneurs to understand what's going on, even we need to understand.
Yes.
So the research papers is a third larger initiative which is going to evolve over the next year. So we also have a framework like, okay, this is what's going to be happening in the next year, couple of years, and how can we benefit? And we can tell people who are entering the space, you know what, you need to consider these two.
Okay.
That's the 3 parts of the 3 or 4 parts of the PIC SI Lab initiatives.
Great.
Okay, if you like this particular podcast and you believe that it can be a benefit to you all, please do like, subscribe, and share this interview with others. Thank you very much.